Aloha! Alright, here we go. We are going to go live now. We're going to start with Hooponopono, and we're going to wait a couple minutes to let some people get on. I had to actually jump off for a second and take care of something. And here we are, the present moment, so all is perfect. I'm going to wait for a couple moments and let us all breathe and feel the call to get on here, so aloha. Yeah, and just to, start, this is the welcoming and the start of the GFC, Global Frequency Collective Movement Summit. And so we're here to awaken, and we're going to share what we have to offer this week. So I'm going to stay here for a couple more moments and wait for more people to get on, and then we'll go live. So thank you guys for showing up, and we'll start soon. All right, I hope everybody can hear me. I'm not really sure where to... All right, let's do this. Welcome to the summit, day one. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. So let's start with that. A beautiful day to give thanks. I'm here today, this morning actually, kind of the twilight hour. It's about 5 a.m. here in Maui, Hawaii, so it's a perfect time for a conversation about our ancestors, because this is kind of the beautiful time when we can really connect with them. So what we're going to do today is we're going to kind of go through some different topics. We're all here for vibrational healing. So we're going to take vibrational healing and speak into that a little bit, as well as bring up some laws of the universe, like the law of polarity, the law of transmutation, the law of vibration. Everything has a frequency. And then we're going to talk about our ancestors, and we're going to also talk about a practice that came from our Hawaiian ancestors, which is called Hooponopono, which actually means to make right. Okay. So to start off this talk, I'm going to share a story of a man. He's alive right now, and this story has happened. We can look it up. I'll post something underneath, actually, after the talk, so you guys can follow up and do some more information gathering on your own. But I'll kind of paraphrase the basic understanding and the basic story behind why I personally came on this mission to learn more about Hooponopono, and why I'm here sharing it with you. Why the importance of it for the healing of this world, for the healing of oneself, for the healing with the relations with the ancestors, and why that is important. So basically, this man, his name is Dr. Hugh Len. Beautiful man when you hear him speak. Very little ego, very just... The story gained a lot of notoriety and attention because what he did, not what he said he was going to do. What he did is he actually worked in a ward here in Hawaii. It was a mental institution. A lot of really, really harsh circumstances. A lot of harsh reflections of individuals who have had experiences in their lives or in their past lives that have basically caused them in that moment to end up in that institution. So at the time he got called in, one of his friends actually called him in and tried to get him, I believe, to work there for 2 years before he actually did. And so basically what happened was his friend said, "Hey, I know you have something special. Can you come work with us?" And he goes, "Why?" He goes, "Well, we're having a lot of trouble here. There's a lot of violence, there's a lot of aggression, and we really feel like we could use your help. So Dr. Len thought about it, he's like, I don't really want to do this. But within 2 years, he showed up. And he showed up under certain circumstances. He said that technically he didn't even need to see the patients. He could do it from home. Well, they said, it's confidential, so you need to come here. He said, okay, fine. So he showed up, and he took full responsibility for the entire ward, for every doctor, for every nurse, for every patient. He took responsibility because it's his. In his belief, everything that shows up in your universe, you and I verse, everything we speak, everything we think, everything we feel shows up in reflection. And all these beautiful little pieces that come together that we call the world. People, tangibles, experiences, the weather, all these things he believes, as do I, that is a pure reflection of your inside, outside. So when he showed up, what did he do? He breathed into what he was feeling. He calls it cleaning. He's like, simple, I'll just clean. What does that mean? You're gonna come work with our patients? No, I'm gonna clean. What are you gonna clean? Well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take responsibility for all the data that's inside of me. So he can be very vague when he speaks of it, and so I'll try to go into my personal understanding. And so this is where it gets into more of a personal share. And this is where I can open up to everybody and say, hey, please comment, please share more. It'd be really, really beautiful, to get other people's insight here. Because for me, honestly, if you see my skin color, I'm not Hawaiian. Yet, I really, truly believe that my ancestors, my guides, brought me here to learn this knowledge, to share it, so I can help other people as he has. So, the law of vibration is one of the universal laws, one of the 7 hermetic principles. And this is very important to the healing. This is very important to us understanding what is going on in the universe, how the flow works. So, the law of vibration states, everything has a frequency. Everything has a frequency. So let's start talking about a little bit of frequency with Dr. Hugh Len. So we'll talk about the frequency of his emotions, the frequency of his thoughts. So every emotion, every thought has a frequency. It brings us to another law of polarity. Every frequency has a pole. So a perfect example, let's bring up sadness. The frequency of sadness, let's say it's over on this side. Let's say this is pessimism, optimism, negative beliefs, positive beliefs, yay! So what we're trying to do here is bring the information field, frequency, and realize that we can take our pessimism and clear the information, clear the data, and take it over to a place of optimism. So instead of being sad, we can accept. We can appreciate. We can put our mental attention in somewhere else. And so we raise out. Hooponopono basically means to make right. it's based on the concept of love. That love clears all, that love as the highest density of emotion can in a form transmute the lower emotions. Because once we get in a perspective of like, oh, wait a minute, oh, I see, oh, okay, it's easy to let something go. And we remember that first thing, oh, that makes me sad, whatever it is. That's part of the program that has come into us over time, passed on through our ancestry line, from our mom and dad, their mom and dad, great-grandparents, great-great-grandparents, boom, 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 boom. Because what happens is sometimes we have this experience. Something happens to us. We're like, oh, whoa. That snake almost bit me. So this is a really long time. This is like generations ago. My great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandpa got bit by a snake. Almost died. Thank goodness my grandma was a medicine woman. She healed him. But what got passed on in our ancestral DNA was data, information. So things like this can come with us. A little child, I remember seeing a snake, and the weird thing about it is I knew the snake was there. There was something in my cellular memory that felt the snake before I even saw it. And so I knew, even though I didn't experience a snake before in my life, part of me had. And so that's what we're talking about. We're talking about there's information and data stored inside us from this life, but also our ancestors' lives, because it's passed on. It could have been simply like, hey, watch out for the snakes, hey, watch out for the snakes, but that happens enough, it goes into the subconscious memories. Okay, so, back to the story. He walked in the ward, and what he realized is there was a lot of verbal violence, there was a lot of physical violence, and there was constantly people being shackled every day. There was constantly people being put in the solitary confinement, we can say, rooms. So we started cleaning. Something would come up with this individual, this patient, and instead of looking at them and saying, oh, how can I fix you? How can I help you? He took responsibility for that data. Wow, something must be happening inside of me for this person to be in my life, for this person to be where they are. So I'm going to take full responsibility. So what do I feel here? Oh, I feel guilt. I feel guilt for this person. So the frequency of guilt is a little lower. It doesn't make you feel good. Obviously it allows these things to continue in the world. So his belief is, okay, I'll go into my guilt, and I'll use my process of transmutation. I love you. Thank you. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Thank you for the opportunity I have right now to love that part of myself that is being reflected in the world, in my universe, right in front of me, so I can clean that, and in turn, Great Spirit, God, the Creator, Akua, whatever you may believe, will in turn do His work as I just sit back and observe and watch that individual go through their healing as I do my cleaning. And so he sat there and he did it. He did it day after day, week after week. But I think about 3 to 4 months in, there was a pretty quick realization. It seemed like a lot of the aggression had gone down. seems like a lot of the people who were shackled, no need. The rooms to keep people secluded, no need. All of a sudden, patients started getting better, one by one, simply. What are you doing? I'm cleaning. What does that mean? I'm taking responsibility to make it right. Boom, boom, boom. People started leaving. Actually healing, getting released. They realized then as people started coming in, instead of taking 2 years to go through the process of being released, it took 4 months. And then I think down to 2 maybe. The cool thing is within 4 years, the ward was closed. And so this is a really amazing story because what this shows is how when we take personal responsibility and have the awareness of the universal laws and some of these tools to change our vibrations, we can actually make a huge effect. We can allow healing into this world. So, let's go into why this works. So what he's doing is he's taking, and we talked about the law of vibration, so he's taking an emotion. Emotional body, mental body. So his emotion, let's just say his emotion is anger. So he sees something that makes me angry. The universe must be giving me this as an opportunity for me to clear my anger so the whole world heals. So this anger is a feeling. Ooh. So let's call it data. Now we go in to our logical mind, which is our conscious, and he would go down to his subconscious, because that's where our memories are stored. Our programs, things our parents told us, things that media has told us. Hey, here's your local program. Anything from fears to desires. It's like a lot of those are kind of the polarities of this. So, if the emotion is anger, why is that coming into the subconscious? What information is stored? What program is stored that's telling doctor or me or you, this isn't right. This makes me angry because this is wrong. Oh. I have something inside of me, a belief that things should be a certain way. That this expression over here is not okay. I love you. Thank you. Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Please forgive me for wanting the world to be such a good place. And in that trying to balance, please forgive me for bringing imbalance and projecting data of anger, data of judgment. And as we do this, as we really look into the data of both the emotion and the data of the thought on a subconscious level, we can start to breathe into it. Every time we're saying thank you, the energy goes up through our superconscious, gets cleaned out, law of compensation. Everything that goes up comes back with the law of rhythm. There's cycles. So when something is beautiful and the loving energy goes out, it will come back healed. So every time doctor goes through and cleans that energy, it goes through his logical mind, through his conscious to his subconscious. His belief is it goes up to spirit, to God, to the divine. It's cleaned and then comes back. And this patient in front of him, this individual who had brought up anger in him, has shifted a little bit. Those things aren't there anymore because it's been healed on this level of universal quantum field. So when we talk about the Healy now, we're talking about this beautiful frequency device. Why is that important to me? Why is that important to all of us? It's because what we're doing is we're literally raising the frequency. And so we're sitting here and we're doing things like Hooponopono to support individuals with it, to support ourselves, to clean up our lives and our world. How beautiful it could be if we could take some of these patients, put them on a frequency device. Here you go, let us support you by allowing you to have something to support the vibrational change, frequency change. Because this is really beautiful information, but the fact of the matter is some individuals aren't ready for this. Some individuals don't have the capability or the time to sit and do this for themselves, or the understanding or the calling to pull it into them. So, it's really important for some of us to step up. Like, why am I here? I am here to change the frequency of this world, starting with myself, reflecting outwards. And so that's why this is really important. And what we realize is through this, so frequency changes everything. So, I'm going to try to go through the doctor really quick and see if I can get through it this time. So he had the data. It came and he took responsibility for it. So what he did is he cleaned that data and he threw it out there. So where'd it go? It went into the quantum field. It went to the information field. It went to the Akashic field. It got cleaned up and got re-downloaded back into the body of Dr. Hugh Lin as well as the patient. And so this is the same way, this is some of the same kind of principles we're talking about as far as how the resonance works. Because what we're using is we're using quantum technology in a device. So we have a quantum sensor. How does that quantum sensor work? Well, it doesn't necessarily tap in with your skin. What it does is it taps in with the information field. So with the Healy, we're tapping in to our information field to literally bring these things up. All these beautiful pieces of information that we get in a printout is perfect examples for one to do Hooponopono with. Because what we're doing is we're working from a subconscious level and we're bringing it into a conscious level. So we get the printout, we look at it, how does that make me feel? And that's a really beautiful place where we can start going through, I love you, thank you, please forgive me, I'm sorry. And with the support of the Healy on top of that, wow. Because now we're doing it times two. We're doing our own cleaning subconsciously through the same way of sending it out to the information field and then sending healthy frequencies back through the information field. Let's get back to ancestry, because that is one of the beautiful reasons why we're here today. I think the first thing is, thank you, Mama. If you're on here, I love you. I love you, Dad. You guys are my first ancestors. It's funny, we don't really call you that because you're my family. But Ancestry.com tells me that my family tree is my ancestry. So it's really beautiful because we are our ancestors. And we've learned a lot from them. And so therefore, we can really heal with them. Even like with the Healy, some of the things that come out are actually ancestral wounds. And that is because of this. That is because data got stored in the subconscious of our ancestors. They got passed down through the ages. And simply that's why your parents tell you, don't talk to strangers. Now we're all running around with fear. So instead of teaching fear in the future, us as ancestors, we're going to clean this out. And we're going to teach awareness. So that's what we're here to do. Let's see, what else can we speak about? Another really important thing about ancestry is, so I'm here in Hawaii. And my ancestors are from Germany. Yet my calling in life was not to go to Germany, as of yet. It was to come to Hawaii. And it was really interesting because for me, I actually felt like I had ancestry here. Something calling me. Intuition. And so I got here, and I started learning about the land very quickly. And it's interesting because I tried to learn from the individuals who were around me, the humans. And a lot of the information was scattered because the data scattered. And so what I did is I went into the forest. And I realized that the ancestors are in the trees. The ancestors are in the rocks. And I actually figured this out because I found a book. And this book was about the Huna principles. And it talked about the kahuna, which some people call the secret keepers, and how they interacted, how they did this Huna principle. But also, it was funny because I'm tapping with the ancestors of this land, and they're tapping in with the ancestors literally of the land, speaking to the rocks, speaking to the trees, speaking to the ocean, speaking to the wind, speaking to the fire, realizing that the elements are here as our ancestors, speaking with us and holding this data. One of the beautiful things that I think I'll end with is it's really important to tune in with our ancestry as we're talking about here, and that data clearing is absolutely tuning in and clearing our ancestry, because the doctor wouldn't have had an ill thought of that patient if it wouldn't have been in its DNA memory, if it wouldn't have been passed down or something that he literally experienced. And so as we're healing these things, we're healing ancestor traumas. The really important thing that I've learned here from my ancestors, the Hawaiians, if you sit around and you speak to these elders, you hear two phrases. It's really beautiful. Can and no can. Both positivity. If you break it down, it's really simple. Can you help me with this? Can you move this chair for me? So I have two options. One is a yes and one is a no. Yes, I can help you. I know can help you. So if can, if no can, no can. So they're keeping their speech in positivity. I can. If they say I can't, that's admitting that they don't have the ability. And so even with that, they believe that all their energy, all their data, they try to keep it clean at all moments so that these creations don't happen. So the world stays clean. So they don't have to do their clearing. They clear all the time and they stay clear. And that's one way to do it, is to be in positivity. To remember that everything is beautiful. And if you have the ability, and it just isn't working right now, you know, there's no need to say, I can't. Instead, we say, I know can. And what if the information, what if the data, or like the frequency of the words, like think about it. What is no backwards? On. It's just like a light switch, on, off. It's like, the light switch is off, but the light still has the capability to turn on. So, on, no on, no on. If it said on and can't, the light might just burn out really, really quick. So, I love you all. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day. Thank you. Aloha.